like the group that we're going to be starting with, why don't we start recording and then we can kick things off. A big thank you to everybody from the Singular DTV team who's taken some time out from their busy schedules to join us today, as well as to the community. You guys have been really great. We got over 80 questions submitted over the past few days, which is really phenomenal. And I think the level of interest from the community in doing events like this really bodes well for us doing more of these to come in the future. I wanted to turn things over to Zach LeBeau, our CEO, just to welcome everybody to the call.
Hey everybody, Zach LeBeau here. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Singular DTV, and I'm particularly excited about this this format, this way of communicating. So I hope it's productive so we can do a lot more of these, and thank you all for coming.
Great, thanks Zach. Just so that everybody's aware, my name's G. Thomas Esme. For those of you who are regular Discord users, you may know me as Cineholic. I like movies. It's why I work here at Singular DTV. Formerly, I'm our Director of Business Development, though I'm now shifting my focus to Director of Community Engagement. So these type of projects will be more of the stuff that I'll be doing in the future. Just some housekeeping to kick us off here. I wanted to throw a disclaimer. Though this is sort of a private group right now, this is a call that we are recording and we intend to disseminate publicly. Consequently, on this call, we aren't going to be revealing any secret information, anything that we aren't ready to disclose publicly, simply because we have a moral and legal responsibility to ensure that anything we're planning has been properly evaluated and vetted before it's been shared with the public. With that out of the way, one other bit of housekeeping I wanted to cover is because we got so many questions submitted from you guys, we likely are not, in fact, it's going to be impossible to get to all of them on the call today. Accordingly, we've now started a new process for the community to submit questions that you want evaluated and answered by the leadership team, and that is a new channel on Discord. So you'll see that we've just today added the community questions channel. So if there's anything we don't get to on the call today that you really want answered, or if there's anything we don't have enough time to go into detail about, please throw the questions up there so we'll add them to the top of the docket for the next one of these types of calls. With that out of the way, I've introduced myself. You've heard from Zach already. Jason, would you mind introducing yourself?
Sure. Jason Terrell, I'm the Vice President of Content here. I started with the company in April of 2017. So I've been here at Singular DTV since fairly early days. My focus is I oversee content strategy for film acquisition and distribution. So our exclusive content, content that we're onboarding for the distribution platform. And on the business side, I've overseen the build, the user experience, the design of the platform. So it's been a really exciting sort of cross-functional world for me here.
Cool. Milad, could you introduce yourself, please?
Hey everyone, I'm the acting CTO and also part of Consensus. I've been since the beginning. I guess it was early 2016 or late 2015, I don't remember. Here to answer any technical questions.
And Milad's joining us from Romania, so yeah. Thank you for staying on the call so late your time. Let's see, Jake, could you introduce yourself, please?
Yeah, I am the Director of Content Partnerships, Singular DTV. So I work really closely with Jason in really taking that larger strategy in terms of engaging with artists and the entertainment industry, whether it's film, music, podcasts, and different mediums, really any creators, and introducing what we're doing and really trying to build those relationships with the artists so they can utilize the tools that we're developing for them.
Great. Thank you, guys. I see some other members of the Singular team on the call. I think really this is the core team that you're going to be hearing from today. But I'm curious for members of the community who we haven't had a chance to meet before, if you guys wouldn't mind introducing yourself, maybe letting us know your handle on social media, just so we know who we're talking to. Anil, would you mind kicking things off?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so hi everyone, this is Anil. I've met quite a few of you during my trip to New York. So my handle is the Himalayan Guru, but I've cut the Himalayan part and I'm just Guru now. So I'm here. I've been a long-term supporter of Singularity TV and just get very passionate about so many things that you guys are doing. So and here I am. So.
Thank you. Hedony, Claude, would you mind introducing yourself?
Yes, sure. So I've been investing in following Singularity TV since 2017. Been over 2 years now, and I'm still trying to find a movie with your system called The Musical. It's probably some of you have heard of it.
Cool. And then it looks like we've got Edward as well. Could you say hello? I think you're muted, Edward. You just have to click the unmute button at the bottom of your screen. There you go.
Yeah. Here you go. Hi everybody. The first time I meet everybody, I'm very excited to know all the news and everything. I'm happy to see some members. I'm happy to see you, Thomas. I think your communication, I repeated again, are really well. Your skills are very well. I like to see Guru. I think his approach in the community is very constructive, very positive. I really appreciate that. I'm a little busy because now it's 4 o'clock. I'm in Singapore momentarily. So probably I will not be participating so much. I put some questions. Being the first time, I'm curious because it was a long time from we received some news from the team. My main purpose is to stay long term with the Singular TV. I really appreciate all the team. This was the main reason why I invested in the tokens. The team. I like Zach. I like you. I like Kim. I think a lot of talented people are in the team. So this is my main interest in the CTV.
Well, thank you for the kind words. We definitely, and I know you submitted a lot of questions yourself, so I hope we'll be able to cover as many of those as possible on the call. It looks like we've got a few other users who I don't recognize, D+, Block E, and Vlad S. I see you've got your cameras off, so you may or may not want to introduce yourself. Just wanted to open the floor up to you to say hello if you felt like saying hi. If not, we'll jump into the questions. Going once, twice. Alrighty. Well, then I think before we open up the floor to live questions from the members of the community who were able to join us today, I just wanted to cover some of the basics and questions that we received over and over again in the 80+ questions we did receive from the community. So why don't we start with Zach with some of the overview information. One question we got a lot is, when will EtherVision be ready? Antonius Blockchain in particular on Reddit is one of our users who submitted the question.
Okay, over to me. So when will EtherVision be ready? EtherVision is actually the working title for our DDP, and DDP stands for Decentralized Distribution Platform. So internally, recently, we've shifted from referring to it as EtherVision to DDP. Our DDP, it's not going to be launching with the name EtherVision. So the beta launch of our DDP will coincide with our rebranding. So this new name that will embody the DDP is yet to be unveiled. It'll be unveiled soon because the beta of our distribution platform is launching sometime in Q1 of 2019. So pretty much any time between today and March 31st, our rebranding and the launch of our beta will commence. Marketing and communications and our branding team, they're going to be very active in giving you updates just before and when this is happening. So you'll all know about it. So please stay tuned for that. Something I also wanted to convey is basically just to set a little bit of expectations here with regard to our launch of our beta. So please don't expect us to launch something like a blockchain Netflix right out of the gate. I just wanted to say that because it took billions of dollars and over a decade for Netflix to become who they are. We are launching our beta. So this means that you'll be able to go onto our DDP, you'll be able to watch films and television and music. Jason will tell you more about this. But while you're doing that, underneath the hood, this revolutionary rights management system is going to be running. And you probably won't even know that is happening. You probably won't even care that that's happening, but the artists, they'll know, they'll care that it's happening. The entertainment industry certainly does care. So this blockchain rights management system is really first and foremost the thing that we're going to perfect with our beta. All different types of features and functions that we have planned, they're going to be rolled out systematically in upgrades over the next few years. For the users, things like gamification and incentivization, community aspects, social aspects, these type of mechanisms which are for you, they will be rolled out in these upgrades over 2019 and 2020 as well. So we're not only having to be a distribution platform here, but we have significant blockchain rights management technology to perfect. We've got an array of tokenomic, cryptonomic theories that we get to test once the DDP launches. So basically, what we're releasing and what we'll be continually upgrading over the next few years, I think will be among one of the most complex and comprehensive set of applications Ethereum and blockchain technology in general has experienced to date.
Thanks, Zach. Another question from Antonius Blockchain on Reddit was, will Singles still be considered the mother token after the rebrand? And if so, can you explain what makes Singles valuable?
Yeah, okay, so our promise, our envisioning of the Singles token remains the same today as it did back in early 2016 when we started publicly talking about Singular DTV. So again, the entire point of the Singles tokenized ecosystem is to gravitate value into the Singles token. So wherever revenue is generated within our ecosystem, the point is to push that into the Singles token. So as a lot of you can imagine, there are various regulatory and legal considerations regarding this, and it's planned that our upcoming token upgrade will help facilitate us keeping this promise and take this our entire tokenized ecosystem to that next level, basically.
Great. And then another sort of general question we got from Urius on Discord, Zach. What's the status of number of employees at Singular DTV?
Okay, we're at about 50 team members worldwide right now, and it's important to note that we did start optimizing our operations during the market contraction, and we started this optimization in August, and that pretty much ran its course from August to December. And what that looked like is we basically, on average, cut about 40% of our expenses all across the board. Okay. So Martin Trepp, who is our new CFO, he came on board during this time and helped with this optimization. It was his number one goal. And when I say optimization, it's really just a phrase that basically means layoffs and budget cuts. Martin and we were very aggressive in making sure that Singular DTV is running as lean and efficiently as possible. So all of our resources are focused on our major priorities and promises. With regard to our roles, we do have organizational charts, and we can supply you with the categories of each of our departments and the job titles of each team member. And if it doesn't break Swiss privacy laws, then we can include the names of each team member as well. So we'll make sure that our operations team gathers that info for you and puts it in a place that everyone can take a look at it and ask questions about.
Cool. Thank you, Zach. I think that covers a lot of our overview information. With Singular DTV running leaner and meaner than ever, I think top priority and probably top of everybody's mind here is a lot to do with the distribution portal. So Jason, I know we got some questions about artists and how they can participate with the platform. So Rainbow Jaw on Reddit was asking, how can artists participate in alpha and beta testing?
Sure. So right now, currently in alpha, what we did was we engaged with a number of the artists that came on from the earliest days of Tokit, who were sort of already in the ecosystem, had launched a token, and were already involved in had previous work and had new work that they were contending with. And those folks became our alpha testers on the artist side. So we've had review from some of those folks. They've been digging in, they've been giving us notes for the past couple of months. Once our beta launches, which as Zach mentioned, we're aiming for Q1 here, artists around the world will be able to jump in from day one. And there will be information and guidance on the web platforms whereby you can access the application to sort of walk people through that. So from the very early days of beta, we're hoping to have artists from all over the world jump in, tokenize their IP, and launch a channel on our platform.
I just wanted to add there as well that one of the importances about this being a beta release is that individuals like yourself from the community will also have an opportunity to give us feedback on the app and help us shape the development as we continue to version 1.0.
Absolutely. I mean, as Zach mentioned, we expect many, many iterations of the DDP over the next couple of years. Applications that have mainstream adoption, things like your Hulus or your Netflix, they change their UI and UX constantly. So we for sure want community notes. We want feedback. We'll have a process in place to gather that feedback so that people understand they have somewhere to give their opinions. It's going to be an ongoing work in progress, but the core operational ability of the platform and our core goals for the platform will all be in place on day one of the beta launch.
Awesome. I think this is something that Zach touched upon earlier, and sort of an addition to Rainbow Jaw's question is, will any of the rights management features like royalty forwarding or for cast or crew, or license-based automated revenue sharing with distribution partners like kickbacks, will this be available with the beta launch of the distribution portal?
Yeah, much of it will be. So for now on beta launch, all the rights and royalties will be managed by the allocation of tokens. Now, the forwarding of royalties for cast and crew, sort of your back end waterfall, will be available day one. What we're going to find is this is a case of manual adoption from people. So it's something that people need to be educated on how to do and how to manage. These individuals, so the cast and crew, whoever is involved on this on the back end of the film, will need to be able to hold the tokens of their respective projects. Will need to sort of learn what that process is. So all of these manual adjustments can be made by sending tokens to and from distributors, cast members, etc. In the future, we're aiming to streamline this, to make it more user-friendly, more automated as we roll forward into future versions of the application.
Great. Yeah, UI UX is definitely going to be a problem or a challenge to solve for not just us here at Singular DTV, but everybody in the blockchain space at large.
Yeah, I mean, that from where I sit, that seems to be the name of the game across blockchain for 2019. Everyone's focused on these same kinds of issues because it's adoptability, right? Our DDP, from my perspective, is going to be one of the mainstream applications that is consumer facing, right? So we hope to be part of that solution in creating an application that people want to use that broadens it beyond the technology, as Zach had mentioned, where it may or may not matter if people understand what's going on under the hood, whether it's blockchain or not, get them into this ecosystem, get them utilizing the app, and then that's going to help give us so much data and information around improving user experience as we roll forward into our future development.
Right. Though I imagine those of you who are joining us on the call today are actually quite concerned about all of the technical aspects of the platform. So I wanted to kick things over to Milad. A question that we get a lot in some form and another, and I think I'm going to paraphrase a question posed by Urius on Discord here, is will Ethereum's scalability impact user experience on our platform?
As much as we could, we reduced the number of on-chain transactions. when a user pays with Ether, we accept 0 confirmations, and unless something happens in the transaction, we allow the user to watch or listen to the content. And if something happens, we stop the stream for him. So that's one thing we did. Another is that for the fiat payments, we batch transactions, so it's all the on-chain transactions are minimized. In the future, the scalability of Ethereum will help us to do more on-chain transactions with more data on-chain. But for now, yeah, we have a hybrid model of on-chain and off-chain.
Great. And we also get a lot of questions, Milad, about content storage. If you wanted to store music or a film, where is it stored? Is it on-chain? Is it in a CDN? How does the music streaming work with blockchain components? And this is coming to
on-chain the chain is a very scarce resource. We can just use it whenever we want. The content is stored. The content is distributed peer-to-peer, right? And we run our own peers to help availability of the content. But whenever someone watches from their desktop, they also help the network. They upload and download at the same time. Yeah, so we have a peer-to-peer network for that. But yeah, it's off-chain, of course.
Yep, content stored off-chain, but still using a decentralized method.
Yeah, it's decentralized peer-to-peer network, but yeah, it's off-chain, obviously.
And G, if I could jump in real quick too, because I just wanted to reiterate that really we have a number of priorities, but one of the number one priorities really for us, for Singular DTV, for what we're doing, is basically programmatically embedding intellectual property into data vessels that we're calling tokens, okay? And then managing the rights, the revenue, the royalties, the residuals with the blockchain. So the rights management system and the blockchain technology that we're building and developing to manage the rights management system, that's first and foremost what this big innovation and evolution of the entertainment industry is all about from where we sit.
Yeah, the distribution part is just a way to decentralize, to minimize cost, right? To allow people to publish themselves without needing, I don't know, huge amounts of servers. Yeah, but
and we're very aware too that we have a phased stepped approach to everything we do. We realize that we can't get to the end right away. There are many considerations going on, and we constantly have to cater our architecture around this. Scalability, of course, being one of the major ones.
I think that's a good way of thinking about or explain to the community how we're thinking about implementing blockchain, what it's good for, and also what it isn't good for within the entertainment industry. Something that we haven't really touched upon yet, and I wanted Jake to speak about at least briefly, is some of our content as well, because that's something else that we do that hasn't even come up yet. We've gotten a lot of questions about Trust Machine in particular, and I know the community's been asking about why they can't view Trust Machine already. When are we going to airdrop rights to be able to view the film? Would you be able to speak about that, Jake?
Yeah, so with Trust Machine, we're likely moving away from airdrops as they currently work today. But we are planning on giving this film away to community members, as well as making it available for low cost for university and other educational screenings. I think the big thing to take into account with a film like Trust Machine is that we are creating a holistic campaign for it and really doing the best that we can to maximize viewership both within our community but also outside the community, and allowing this film to really help be a tool for the larger conversation around blockchain. So that's why having it play in theaters, like when it played in New York and Los Angeles, and same thing with having a robust educational university screening campaign. Those are all parts of how we really make the most of getting this film out to the world.
Yeah, one of the things that what Jake and I are on the front lines is dealing with the entertainment industry in its current state. There's certain sort of pretty hard and fast release patterns with how you disseminate a film. And if you jump over one piece of the release, you sort of burn that. You burn that revenue and you burn that opportunity for the film. So we've always baked in that we want this film to be available to our community and to be given away to our community. But we sort of have to follow these steps as they exist today in order to maximize that exposure for the film and to maximize the number of people that get to see it, which is really the most crucial thing for a film like this. It's something where while we are decentralizing the industry, we have to deal with these centralized structures at the same time and roll out these kind of hybrid releases so that we can prove where it can move to. And that's really what our efforts are focused on, is helping to continue to evolve the industry and get them to think more forward about how things can work.
As a documentary about blockchain, Trust Machine is also quite a niche film. So it's useful to premiere it in local indie theaters, because then you can increase its exposure to people who might not be actively seeking out a blockchain documentary to go watch.
Absolutely.
But you know what's interesting about this, and Jason, you just mentioned it there. There's certain hurdles that we have to jump through in the entertainment industry just to build these bridges of these commonalities for them to be onboarded into what we're building. Actually, a case in point, a kind of funny story, is that when we're talking digital rights management, Malad and Jason and our team actually built a better system for security and digital rights management. It's so much better in so many ways than what the entertainment industry uses now. But the thing is, the entertainment industry is a little scared of it because they don't know what it is. So we have to employ two different sets of security. One that is the blockchain security that we developed, and the other is what the entertainment industry knows. So we have two levels of security going at the exact same time. And basically, once the entertainment industry gets used to it, the old way is going to be like training wheels. That'll drop off, and we'll be able to phase into the blockchain security measures that we developed. So little things like that are kind of interesting when dealing with these large legacy institutions and how they do things.
Yeah.
Can I ask a real quick question, Thomas, if I may? That Trust Machine was I had the opportunity to get to see that show. It's just really, really inspirational. Maybe a question maybe pointed to Milad. There's one thing that they talked about, this experiment that was being done in Jordan, where the retina was being used as an authentication. Can you speak of that? It's from a UI perspective, that's a very convenient way of accessing your wallet, your private key and all that. Is this, that could, I know wallet itself is like one of the, remembering all these keys is one of the biggest hurdles, right? So I'm wondering whether or not this type of technology could be beneficial or could be useful. I'm just kind of randomly thinking about it.
It's very similar to Face ID, right? We can't just accept that as the first security. You have to have something that only you know, right? So as a quick access, it's very beneficial. But as the only way to access your wallet, no, because you can be forced to open your eye or something,
Interesting futuristic stuff. I think maybe one more question to the team here, then I notice we're about halfway through our call, so I want to turn it over to the community on this call to be able to ask live questions. But Jake, would you mind also talking a little bit about the other original content that we're working on? Sci-fi series, The Happy Worker. Can you share any updates about any of those?
Yeah, so, Trust Machine, of course, being our first original title, and that film is currently in the midst of its release campaign, as we just mentioned. The Happy Worker is currently in post-production, which is really exciting, so that's plugging away. The sci-fi series is still in pre-production, but I know we've got a great team of people who aren't on this call that are working on all those different projects, and so we're really excited about them. And then we also have our other sort of exclusive acquired titles, Prospect and Perfect, that are in the midst of their release campaigns as well.
And just one last note about the Happy Worker. I know it can be hard when you don't follow entertainment industry news. These things are so far out. It takes years for production to happen. It's hard to sort of gauge layers of success and expectation when things take so long. We cast Josh Whitehouse as the lead of this film, as the young lead, because we loved his prior work. But he had done some TV work. He had done some indie films. Nothing that was a massive needle mover. But people were like, this kid's going to be the next big thing. We were really excited about him. We cast him. He's great in the film. He's a great guy, just truly inspired by what we're trying to do. He actually got a Happy Worker inspired tattoo, which is pretty amazing. That's a serious layer of dedication. But here during our post-production period, I guess this was maybe a month ago or 6 weeks ago, it was announced that Josh was cast as the male lead in the Game of Thrones prequel series that HBO is launching in 2020. This was nothing that was on our radar at all when we cast him, but it's news like that that just massively raises the profile of projects like this. A fairly small indie film with a fairly unknown actor all of a sudden gets cast in, the biggest franchise in the world that's not Disney or Marvel. It makes a huge impact on the film. So we should all be really excited about the trajectory of that one, because it got a big boost from his future work.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing the Happy Worker.
And also, aside from that, from those titles that you mentioned, we do have about 11 different film and television projects going about right now, from development to post-production. A couple others that are really exciting and interesting is in post-production, we also have a coming-of-age film called Antarctica, which is being edited in the next room right next to us right now. And we also have this amazing adventure story happening in the Amazon jungle called Akade Meru, which starts shooting next week as well. So.
Awesome. Well, I think we've covered a little bit of most things, but definitely by no means everything that was submitted in the community questions. But I did want to open the floor up to the members of the community who joined us on today's call to ask any follow-up or additional questions that you guys had on your mind, so we can talk them over here. Would anyone like to start?
Yeah, I could just start off just asking about the production. Zach just talked about a couple of new productions. I also heard about the New Frontier. I know that you guys are pretty excited about that, and so are we. So I'm just kind of wondering if you can give us an update on what happened with New Frontier.
So, Anil, the amazing thing about New Frontier is that it took almost a year and a half to negotiate the contract, which was, we were biting our nails off at certain points. It was very, very frustrating. And that's what we had to deal with in this legacy entertainment industry, with all the lawyers and all the producers and everyone involved, was a year and a half of contract negotiations. We just finished contract negotiations. We just finished the contract before the end of the year. So now we're free and clear. And we can actually begin in 2019 moving this thing forward in a meaningful way.
Any other content related questions, or did we want to move on to another topic? All right.
Hey, G, there was a question that I noticed about bringing Toket out of beta. And I did want to address that if no one else had any other questions real quick. Because I think that Toket is one of these, it's a little bit misunderstood in a sense. I think it's important to realize that Toket is inextricably linked to our DDP, because the purpose of Toket first and foremost is basically to represent version number 1 of our rights management gateway, And we can't give our rights management tokens relevance without context in the proper infrastructure. So our DDP is providing this content, this context and infrastructure. So Token essentially is being made relevant by the DDP, and it's always been planned like that. Every single piece of content that goes on the DDP will have to go through Token first. So all of those rights management tokens are generated from Token. So the first and foremost purpose of Token is that, and it's soon to be realized, is that it generates rights management tokens, okay, for the DDP. The crowdfunding aspect of Token has always been secondary. And I think it's gotten a lot more press and coverage because that crowdfunding aspect, the ICO aspect, it's sexier, it's more interesting to the average person. And I think it's easier for people, for the general public to wrap their heads around rather than understanding blockchain rights management tokens. But that crowdfunding aspect has always been secondary. And with regard to the crowdfunding aspect, you know, there are certain jurisdictions out there in the world that exist where Token can be utilized to create all kinds of tokens, right? But in order for Token, its secondary purpose of crowdfunding to be effective in the United States, we need to turn Token into a regulated crowdfunding platform. And that's a process. Because this is not in our direct purview at this time, we're not going to be moving forward with it anytime soon, turning it into a regulated crowdfunding platform. But we're definitely going to address that issue in the future once we've perfected our rights management system. So in the future, we can definitely see a DDP. Actually, I think the way it's going to look in the future is Token and the DDP will probably be integrated into one unified application. But for now, as we're ramping everything up, testing everything out, and perfecting everything, it's going to be two separate applications. So
I think that's a really good note, Zach, because something I've noticed in a lot of the community responses and questions is all about Token as a crowdfunding portal. But I think one of the things that perhaps isn't clear to the community just yet is every single piece of content that lands on the DDP that you're downloading will have a token associated with it that's created through Token.
Yeah, the DDP, the consumer-facing app, is a brand and artist-focused application. So everything is channel-based. Every artist, every distributor, every production company will have a token. This all integrates with Token. Content is, you know, all the rights, revenue, royalty management. The whole goal was to make it token-driven, and that remains the goal. So they're inextricably tied, as Zach said, and will only be more so as we go forward.
And you know, there was an interesting article that actually came out not too long ago, very recently, and it was basically about, hey, there's already been a killer app that's been generated from Ethereum, and that killer app is the concept of tokens and tokenization. And I think sometimes that's lost when we're trying to look out in the crypto sphere and see what sort of decentralized applications are being launched, when really the number one most impactful so far has been the concept of a token itself.
Mm.
And if I could just jump in really quick, my name is Matt McGivern, the Token project manager. I think it's really important to note that we really need the DDP to come online before Token can really show what it's made of, because all the tokens that are used on the DDP are going to need to be created through Token right now. So just wanted to make that one comment.
Oh, go ahead. One moment. I just wanted to follow up with Matt, because he shared an interesting statistic with me earlier today that I think is of interest for the community. And that's, I know it appears that there's only been a handful of crowdfunding campaigns on Token, but Matt, how many tokens have been created so far?
So roughly around 250 tokens created, about 60 campaigns.
And that's without a distribution portal where all of the content that's associated with these tokens can live. So I think we'll see a lot more activity heading into the DDP launch. But what was the question that you wanted to ask, Anil?
Yeah, so I know that, within the United States, participating in TOKIT at the moment, as Zach alluded to earlier, that there's quite a bit of that process. However, in the other jurisdictions like Japan and Korea, Hong Kong, among, maybe even some of the European countries, is the process just as extensive? Can TOKIT already do what it was intended to do in other jurisdictions, so that, USA, okay, maybe we'll just join late to the party, whatever. But can you speak of that, what that process is in other jurisdictions?
Yeah, basically, Anil, the meaningful jurisdictions out there with the most traffic and business, really for us, they generally take the lead of what the United States is thinking and doing. Japan being one of them. So one of the reasons why, if we're doing crowdfunding with TOKIT in the United States, that's why the future of TOKIT is in regulated crowdfunding, because we would need TOKIT to generate digital securities. And we would need to do that through a regulated framework. Japan is very similar, we found, to the United States. And when we're talking about actually meaningfully sharing rights, revenue, value with unaccredited investors, there's a lot of jurisdictions out there that require some sort of regulatory framework around TOKIT in order to do that, basically. Claude raised his hand.
Why don't we go to you next then, Claude? What's your question?
Actually, I was listening to, I had a comment about a discussion on the email I had with Matt recently that said that you would allow other Ethereum token to be used on the DDP. That's a very important information. So could you confirm that, Matt, what you sent me on email last week?
That your token will be able to be used within the DDP?
Yeah, no, because the point is that for the movie we are making, despite the staff is quite famous in France, but the system is, the actors and the people acting in that industry, they're really not ready for buying it right now. And since there is very, very low visibility at the moment on TOKIT, we are thinking about launching the token on another platform. So the question is, will it be possible to do that?
So you're thinking about pulling it into a different platform? Yeah,
to get the funding, because you need money. But that's good to have the token, but if you cannot sell it, it doesn't have value. It has value after you sell at least part of it.
I understand. Yeah. So any of these tokens will be, you can utilize them on for distribution with us. You can still distribute with us, absolutely, if that's your question.
Right. Regardless of what you do with the token, you'll still be able to link it to your content living on the DDP in the back end with the artist upload process.
One comment: you could theoretically create whatever token you want on TOKIT, even if you raised funds somewhere else, and then recreate another token in TOKIT and redistribute the tokens, right? I mean, you could do that, right, Claude? Because if you raise money in some other platform, that's fine, but you can also create whatever tokens you want in TOKIT, and then just give those tokens to that same addresses, and then just move on.
Yeah, he's right.
Yeah, that's a good comment. And the other question was about the communication. That's my point of view, that it's really nice to be able to interact in live together. Now, today in audio, but written on Discord. But on the other hand, I think that you got all the information. That if you're looking for one information, you need to go through all the discussion. And many times when I don't go on Discord for like 2 weeks or 3 weeks, I've got so much to read. So from my point of view is that a community website with which will allow to organize all those information better would be very positive. If you don't have a plan like that, what is your proposition to improve the communication? Because maybe it was next year is going to be better. It's because of the circumstances that made it very bad. But this year, I really feel that sometimes it's frustrating for us to don't be able to communicate in an efficient way.
Yeah, I can speak about that a little bit, Claude. One thing you may or may not be aware of is right now, one of the major steps we're taking in the rebrand is to launch a new website. And one of the features that will be built out there is sort of an informational page where all of the resources will live that so you can refer back to those. In the short term, you can certainly refer to Medium, and we're hoping to get more company updates out there so you don't have to scroll through a lot of chat in Discord. But it's definitely important to us to preserve all these different styles of communication, to provide informational resources so you can easily refresh yourself on what's up to date, but also to provide a place where members of the community are able to ask questions and engage in critical discussion. So we'll definitely be doing more of that and doubling down on that in 2019, which is in the purview of my new role. Any other questions, or maybe we should jump back to the pre-submitted questions and use those as launching points for discussion?
I can ask one additional question, Thomas.
Sure. Go ahead.
I know that earlier we spoke of singles representing this mother vessel, you know. So then, you know, we've had lots of smaller sort of interest over the last couple of years, you know, things like Blockhouse, you know, over in Swiss, or like the Plug, or the Breaker Mag, or like, I think Zach, you also blogged about Civil. So then are these then, so can we assume then that these are like the smaller vessels that kind of are erupting out of this big mother vessel in this context? Is that an appropriate way of thinking about this, or are they completely different and independent of the singles economy?
They would fall under both those categories. So what the great expansion of 2017 really helped us do was to basically test the limits of our vision for the Singular DTV ecosystem. So it gave us the ability to go outside of our main priorities and see what sort of support structures are out there to help our goals. Because the number one thing that we want to do is make sure that we can lay the foundation for a decentralized entertainment industry, okay? So I think if you look to see what Singular DTV is going to be in the long run, the future of where we want to end up is basically we're nurturing the DDP and the Singular DTV ecosystem to a point where we can completely open source it, where we can deploy software development kits, where we can allow people to customize their own experiences and customize features and functions that they feel are useful. And so the entire point really for the singles tokenized ecosystem, or the tokenized ecosystem that we're evolving toward, is for the singles token and what the upgrade will become to be the underlying value that the entire decentralized entertainment industry runs on, okay? Having said that, when we're talking about Civil and Breaker Mag and Plug and Blockhouse, one of the things that this contraction has showed us is that we have to be very, very precise and picky on how we spend our time and our resources, because they are finite, okay? Yes, the funds, the ether is finite, but there's one more resource that's even more important that we can never get back, and that's our time. So with regard to Breaker Mag, you know, this is something that we love so much, because when we envisioned Breaker Mag, there wasn't serious reputable journalism with that was unbiased happening in the crypto sphere. Breaker Mag provides that, but the responsible thing that we have to do with Breaker Mag now is make sure that it adds value to our system, to make sure there's a revenue structure around it, because we can't subsidize it. We can't turn it into something that doesn't add value. You know, things like Blockhouse, you know, things like Plug. Well, if you look at Plug, for example, Plug is really its own new type of blockchain protocol. It has a completely different architecture. So we can see how long it's taken Ethereum to get from inception to where it is now. Plug is one of those long-term projects where it's going to take a few years to really build out exactly what it needs and to launch it. So in a lot of ways, we're looking at very long-term type things to build the industry, to build the ecosystem. But with regard to things like Plug, I guarantee you, we're not putting any money, we're not wasting any money in anything, in any of these things, unless it's going to bring revenue back to us. So 2019 is all about the DDP, first and foremost. Original content to help bring new eyeballs to the DDP, and then support applications like Tokit that can help prove our rights management system.
I know we're coming to the end here. Did anyone who hasn't had a chance to ask a question yet, did you want to at this time? We've only got a few more minutes, so please speak now or hold your peace until next time.
Hi, Thomas. I think you as a community, you as a team are very strong. I really like that, and I think your vision is very, very strong. I just want to point out that some things like a regular user or a regular community members, we see things much simple. So I put a lot of questions. I'm trying to put questions that give an answer for 10, 20 seconds. This kind of discussion, I think, are welcome. I think we need to do it more often, because 100% with more people participating in this question become more longer, more deep. I'm not a technical guy. I'm concerned about the utility. I'm concerned about the future of the company. So most of my question, I was trying to think a lot to put it as simple as possible and to give a short answer. Communication. Let's put it this way. From the community, the communication doesn't look very engaging, because we have a nice vision, but sometimes on the deadlines, on the execution, we miss some simple answers. So again, I respect a lot the vision. I cannot be in your place 100%. We just expect some point-to-point answers. For example, DTP, it's quite not easy for us, for anybody, to understand why we don't have a deadline, no matter if it's delayed, no matter, because any company, I can give you, any company give a product, give a service, put a deadline. Then we can focus on that. This kind of thing create more awareness. This, I think, create a lot of cover, publicity, and so on. So it's okay to speak generic, sometimes in Q4, Q1, Q3, Q4, but probably put, I don't know, 1st of March. Then we'll see, maybe we'll put it earlier, maybe. I think give another awareness. I think also you as a team are working 24 hours with such a complex things that sometimes maybe the perception how we see from the other side is not 100% realistic. I see also Jason speaking about a lot of content, a lot of big things. But the point is, Tokit, me as an investor, why I should buy a token? Why should take a token for that? And I ask this, why I should do it now? I give an example with David Bowie, you know for sure that example. I understand it's not easy. I understand that I'm trying to make simple, very complex things. But I think after 2 years, somehow we need to point out simple things so a regular user can understand it very easily. Otherwise, website, a simple thing is such a strong thing there that it's simple, not understandable how such a big company cannot have an easy website, I don't know, with a nice presentation. Even Plug, we talk about Plug, has a roadmap and so on put on the, even it doesn't have a token, but has a site that is more appealing. I understand that a lot of things go under the hoods and cannot be very publicized. But Tokit, it's already a long time, and one investor don't see the need. Actually, it may be misleading, which I think is a worst case scenario. I'm an artist, I'm an investor. Okay, you want to sustain me, get my token. I understand that this is not the main purpose, but the starting of the token was with somehow a crowdfunding, which was not understood very well. I think this needs to be addressed with a simple communication, more point communication. I mean, put on the point. This is how it's working. I don't enter in all the details. I think that the community and awareness about XDV will become higher if we have this kind of interaction more often. I mean, could be Zach, could be another VP, could be a person that acknowledges what's happening. We really don't know if the Discord is read by everybody. Sometimes some bad things happen in there, sometimes not constructive, but I think from time to time there are people who have some constructive approach. I think some person there put some technical things that are interesting to read. Maybe you will not agree, but reading gives the community the feeling that, okay, we try to do things better together. I think this can be addressed very easily. I don't think it's a big effort. For example, now we have 1 hour. I'm sorry that I'm speaking a lot. I don't want to speak in place of Zach or somebody else. We're speaking 1 hour, but I think it's not enough. We speak generally for vision. I think we take days. I think Zach is talking about this for 10 years and still has time and passion. We like to see that passion, Zach, also from other VPs. I mean, we like to see the passion that you have, that you can work 24 hours. And I don't want to offend anybody, because in Discord we can put the names and so on. Some people are not charismatic. I'm not charismatic. I cannot be there to be a president. I'm not charismatic, as simple as that. I think the face of CDTV, when you speak, Thomas, I like Jason, it showed some patience. I think we need to see more of that. I can speak a lot of things, but I don't want to read it now, because I took 1 minute. Maybe we'll have the chance to do other conversation. Maybe, hopefully, everybody will be interested to read also what other community members are saying. Some community members are much more technical than me and put some very interesting questions. And maybe we'll have some deadlines to give the engagement better, I think.
Yeah. Okay. And this is also the first time we're doing this, right? So, right. And this is the first time we're doing it, and it's not, the conversations that we're having is not scripted, and that's the beauty of this type of hangout, and that's what people tend to appreciate a lot more, because there's a lot of thought and creativity on the air, right? So I'm actually very happy that we're able to touch base with such a vast group of the company, along with the token holders, to discuss, whatever concerns or whatever the progresses that might be going on. So thank you so much for all of your time.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I think it's really, really a good thing. I hope it's also the same opinion from the executives. I think from my point of view, this is one of the best things happening in a long time in the XTV. And I really hope the feedback that you will get is good enough so we can continue these kind of things. Maybe none of us will participate in all, but at least some having the continuous engagement, I think, is very beneficial.
Yeah, well, thank you very much for your very honest and frank criticisms, Edward. They're definitely appreciated here. One specific comment I did want to address is this concern that the executives aren't aware of the communication that's happening on Discord. And I just wanted to assure everybody on the call that that is false. Even if they're not engaging directly themselves on Discord, our community managers, a number of whom are on this call, are generating reports for them. Ideas are making their way to Zach, to Kim, to Jason, so that they're aware of the communication that's happening there. It's sort of a function of that very finite resource time that Zach alluded to earlier. Jason's schedule is incredibly hectic when it comes to all of the meetings and multi-department work that he's got to get done in order to get the DDP to the finish line. So those of us who are engaging with you on platforms like Discord are just trying to act as a more efficient means of disseminating that information so that he is able to split his time and really devote and prioritize the work that he's doing with the DDP while still remaining updated with the conversations that are happening in the community.
Just one thing too about deadlines, if I can, Edward, because it is a challenge. Rest assured, we do have internal deadlines. We share what we can. This is a massively competitive field. All we've seen since Zach and Kim launched this thing is, competitor after competitor calling themselves a blockchain entertainment company, coming out into the world. There's a lot of people that have made a lot of very vocal announcements that haven't come to fruition. We've always leaned towards head down, boots on the ground work rather than be a loud voice. I think, as G alluded to, this year we want to make a better balance of that and be in better communication with you guys. I do know that if we don't launch the DDP in Q1, I will grow a mustache like Jake has, and I'm pretty sure Milad said he'd shave his beard off. I don't know. I don't know if I'm misquoted. No, but we absolutely have, we have a structure. We do aim for dates. I, coming from the entertainment industry, have very much now seen and realized, development is not a straight line, especially when you're innovating. And so, we've done what we've done to keep you appraised to date, and we aim to do a much better job than that this year and going forward.
One of the other issues that you brought up, Edward, was just sort of developing a communication style and more engagement like this. And I believe that you are correct. It's something that's been lacking in the past, and 2019 is our year to fix that. It's why I'll be changing my focus so we can do more of this and really engage and grow our community, especially as we're heading into hugely important product launches. So that criticism is definitely well heard, and it's one that we're taking into account, and have already started taking corrective measures to address. I think
one.
Please go ahead.
One more question, and anybody, because I think already passed.
I'm here.
Of course, it will be possible for some of the questions that there are so many, and could be even more. We can continue the discussion in the Discord, or maybe the executive can give some reply to them if it's possible. And second things, considering the DTP, do you consider a model when using the payment with singles will give some discounts to the user, something like that? This will create better utility for the tokens.
So I missed the first question, but the second question about discounts using singles tokens, everything that we're looking at on the crypto side of payments dovetails into a larger reward strategy that we've been putting a lot of thought into. You know, the challenge is going to be, how do we build something unique that gamifies engagement with content and makes this platform stand out amongst the non-blockchain but much larger traditional players out there. And that's an ongoing conversation that involves Zach and Milad and myself and G and Jake and brand marketing teams here. And it's something that you're going to see evolving over the first couple iterations of our application. You know, the baseline beta launch was, let's get rights management licked, let's get content security licked, let's get this innovative peer-to-peer system in place. Let's get our initial partners on board. As we get towards our future application, our future versions, you're going to see more and more of that come to the table. That's going to make the platform more sticky for consumers.
And Jason as well, Edward, one of the things that this is where we want to go to the community to have a dialogue with and to talk ideas out as well, because the entire gamification, incentivization, reward structure is something where I think the community has a lot of ideas and good input regarding this. So we look forward to having an open dialogue about that as well with everyone.
Great. Well, I think we're out of time.
Understand,
Edward, as a technical answer to your question, so for example, when you create a token on Tokit, or when you pay for services on Tokit, you get a discount when you pay with singles. That's because Singularity TV is getting the money, right? But we can give discounts on behalf of the artist. The user pays with singles, pays less money goes to the artist, right? So you can't really get in the way of the user and artist. That's why it's not a great idea to give discounts.
I'm confident Jason can negotiate nice contract with artists. So
yeah, it should be fundamentally, we should be out of the way, yeah.
Great. Well, thank you very much to the whole Singular team for joining us today. I think this was a lot of fun, and so I'm looking forward to doing more of these later this year. Thank you very much to the community, both those who were able to join us live and everyone who submitted their questions in advance. I know there's definitely stuff that we weren't able to get to today. I know that this conversation is going to spark more questions, so please head over to Discord, join our discussion on general, and also join our new channel for submitting questions to future community calls, so we can bring in more leaders from Singular DTV, perhaps even sessions that are devoted to answering specific questions. I know we didn't get to a lot of the marketing questions today, so perhaps we'll schedule something with our marketing team for the future. Thank you all, and I think that'll conclude today's call. We'll circulate the video recording via Discord very soon.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, guys.